Welcome back, students. So we had been discussing about top-down parsers, and we had discussed in depth how we are going to create predictive parsing table. The type of questions that you can expect from this portion is calculate first and follow for the given grammar, or create predictive parsing table for the given grammar, or check the given grammar is valid LL1 grammar or not. In any of the above examples, what the first step that you have to perform is check whether the given grammar is left recursive or not. If the given grammar is left recursive, you have to eliminate the left recursion. The next step that you have to apply is calculate the values of first and calculate the value of follow, after which you have to create predictive parsing table. Now, when you have to check whether the given grammar is LL1 or not, the simple step that you have to perform is first create the parsing table and then check in the predictive parsing table any cell has ambiguity or not. What is meaning of ambiguity? Any cell has more than one rules inside the predictive parsing table or not. How it is possible? Let us see with examples so it will be more clear. You can see over here a grammar for which you have to calculate, you have to check whether the given grammar is LL1 grammar or not. We will first of all check, do you have any kind of left recursion available over here? No. So what we are going to do over here? We are going to simply calculate first and follow. So let me calculate first of capital S. First of capital S, S is deriving two rules. So according to the first rule, first of capital S is first of capital A and first of capital C according to the second rule. Now first of capital A, again A is deriving two rules. So first of capital A is first of capital B union, again first of C. Now first of C is already there, so I won't be writing it once again. First of B is small a, first of C is small, first of B is small a and first of C is also small a. So we have a single value over here. Fine, we'll move ahead. First of capital A. So first of capital A is going to be first of capital B and first of capital C. So what is first of capital B? It is small a. What is first of capital C? Again it's a small a only. Moving ahead, first of capital B. Okay. So what is first of capital B? It is small a only. What is first of capital C? It is again small a. Okay, now your goal is check the given grammar is LL1 grammar or not. Now do I need to calculate follow over here? See, calculation of follow is required only when any of the value in first contains epsilon. As you can observe over here, none of the rule is deriving epsilon, hence in none of the first you have epsilon. So predictive parsing table can be created without even calculating follow. So unless and until the question itself says calculate first and follow and design predictive parsing table, you don't need to calculate follow. So if the question is only about check the given grammar is LL1 grammar or not, there is no need of creating follow. But as we are practicing calculating a follow also, let me calculate follow here. So follow of S, it is going to be dollar and S happens to be nowhere, so only dollar. Follow of capital A, so there is a single rule where you have capital A over here. So that is follow of capital A is first of capital B and first of capital B is small a over here. Now follow of capital B. So we can observe B happens to be here, because of which follow of B is going to be follow of S. And if you observe this, because of this follow of B is going to be small b, and because of this rule follow of B is going to be follow of B, so that we are going to ignore recursive rule. Follow of B, it is a recursive, so we are going to ignore. What is follow of S? Dollar. So this is answer is going to be dollar and small b. Follow of capital C. So C happens to be on two rules. According to this, follow of C is follow of capital S, and according to this, follow of C is small d. So that is going to be dollar and small d. Let me repeat. If you have to just create predictive parsing table, or if you have to just check whether the given grammar is LL1 or not, there is no need of calculating follow. You need to calculate follow only when it is explicitly asked in the question. What I am trying to convey is, if any of the first value contains epsilon, then only there is a role of calculating follow, not otherwise. Here all the values which we have don't contain any epsilon. So how to design a table we already know. We are going to create as many rows as many non-terminals we have. So we have a row for S, capital A, capital B and capital C. Okay. Now, how many columns we are going to create? We have small a, small b and small d. So, small a is there, small b is there and small d is there. There is no small c available, and by default we are going to add dollar also. Okay. Now, moving ahead. How to make the values, how to add the values over here. So for creating the value of capital S, I have to observe. Let me first of all give the naming. This is R1, this is R2, this is R3, this is R4, this is R5 and this is R6. So when I am making the entry in the row of S, I have to observe what is first of S. First of S is A. So the rules which are derivable by capital S, they should be written in a single column. So what happens over here? What is the problem over here? There are two rules, but the column which is selected is a single. So R1 and R2 both are going to be written in the same column. Do you get this? Why? Because you don't have two different rules. First of A and first of C both are deriving you small a only. And hence there are two rules in the same column. Now when I am going to make the entry for capital A, then the only column which I am going to select is small a. Again, capital A derives two rules, but the column which I have selected is single. So again, R3 and R4, they are going to be written in the same rule. Why this happened? Because both first contains small a only, a single symbol, a single column is selected, but multiple rules are derivable. Hence, you are going to have ambiguity. When you have to make the value in the row of capital B, the column I am going to select is this. B is deriving a single rule, so R5 is going to be written here. Capital C, first of capital C is again A and C is deriving a single rule, so R6 is going to be written over here. So you can observe whether the given grammar is LL1 or not. What should be the answer? This grammar is not a valid LL1 grammar. Why? Because you can observe in the cell SA and A, capital A, small a, you have multiple rules. You have multiple rules. As what justification we will write over here? This grammar is not a valid LL1 grammar because cell SA and cell capital A, small a contains more than one rules in the cell, which causes ambiguity, and hence the given grammar is not a valid LL1 grammar. A question that should come in your mind after solving these many examples is, what about the empty cells in the grammar, in the predictive parsing table? All the empty cells we have in the predictive parsing table, they indicate error. Or the empty cells we have in the predictive parsing table, they do indicate error. Let us solve one more example where we can observe such ambiguity. This is called ambiguity, having multiple cells. Even if there is one cell which contains multiple rules, that is ambiguity, all other are distinct cells, yet this grammar is not going to be a valid LL1 grammar. Okay, so we'll move ahead and we are going to solve one more example. So this is a classic example. If you can recall, we have done this earlier also. So we are going to calculate first and follow for this and create the table. So do we have any kind of left recursion here? No, we have already eliminated left recursion, as you can observe over here. Now we are going to calculate first. So first of capital S is small I and small a. So small I and small a. First of S dash is small e and epsilon. Small e and epsilon. First of capital E is small b. Okay, fine. Now we are going to calculate follow. So follow of capital S is, by default, dollar is going to be there. Now you have to observe S is there in how many rules on right hand side? 2 rules. If you observe this rule, according to this, follow of S is first of S dash. So what is first of S dash? It is small e and epsilon. So dollar is going to be there. Okay. According to this rule, follow of S is going to be follow of S is going to be follow of S dash also. There are three things we are going to consider over here. According to this rule, follow of S is first of S dash. According to this rule, follow of S is follow of S dash. So if we focus on first of S dash contains small e and epsilon. So if you replace S dash by epsilon over here, after S you have nothing. So follow of S is going to be follow of S. I repeat, if you consider first of S dash, it contains e and epsilon. So e is written as it is. But if first of S dash is epsilon, S dash is going to be replaced by epsilon. So after S you have nothing. So follow of S is going to be follow of S, recursive. Follow of capital S, a recursive definition. So we'll ignore this. Now what is follow of S dash? That you have to observe because you have to add it over here. What is follow of S dash? Follow of S dash, see, only occurrence of S dash on right hand side is this. After that you have nothing. So follow of S dash is follow of S. Follow of capital S. So again this is a recursive definition. So we only have over here dollar and e. Now follow of S dash. Again, so follow of S dash is going to be follow of S. So that is going to be dollar and e again. Now follow of capital E. So you have capital E over here only, nowhere else there is capital E. So what is following capital E? Small t. So small t is going to be there. Now let us quickly design the predictive parsing table. So as many non-terminals we have, that many rows we are going to create. So I am going to have S, S dash and E. As many terminals we have, that many columns we are going to create. So I have a column with I, okay, then small t, then small a, then small e, small b, and then finally dollar should be added by default. So I'll have dollar also. Okay. So how I'm going to make entries over here? For making the entries, the first thing is, if I'm going to make entry in the row of capital S, the values I have to observe is in the first of S. So which all columns I'm going to select? I and A. I'm selecting I and I'm selecting A. How many rules capital S derives? 2 rules. This is R1, R2, R3, R4, R5. So where R1 is going to be written, it is starting with I, so R1 will be written here. R2 starts with A, so R2 will be written here. Simple. Moving ahead, first of S dash is E and epsilon. So I am going to select E. And as first of S dash contain epsilon, I have to go and observe what is follow of S dash. What is follow of S dash? Dollar and E. So once again, I am going to select E and I am going to select dollar. Okay. So how we are going to make value entries over here? S dash derives ES, that is R3 starts with small e. So I am going to write over here R3. Okay. Now R4, that is S dash derives epsilon. It should be written where? Because of epsilon, how many columns are selected? Because of epsilon, total 2 columns are selected, dollar and E. So R4 should be written in dollar and E both. So here you have R4 and here you have R4. See, this cell contains 2 rules, R3 or R4. Now coming back to capital E, the row labeled by capital E, to make entry in that you have to observe what is first of capital E. It is small b, so only column I am going to select is small b. There is a single rule R5 which is starting with small b, so R5 is going to be written over here. So if the question is like, check the given grammar is a valid LL1 grammar or not, then this grammar don't qualify to be a valid LL1 grammar. It is not a valid LL1 grammar. Why? Because the cell, this cell, that is S dash E cell, contains multiple entries. It has reduce conflict. What is the issue with having multiple entries? When the parsing algorithm will be applied, whenever we'll be accessing this particular cell, we have two values, so we will not be able to decide whether we should be applying reduction using R3 or we should be applying reduction using R4. That won't be clear, and hence this is called ambiguity. And the grammar which generates such ambiguity, a grammar for which in predictive parsing table even a single cell is there where you have multiple rules available, more than one cells where multiple rules are available, then that grammar is not going to be a valid LL1 grammar. There is going to be short 7 marks question in exam, which will either ask you to create predictive parsing table, or it will be asking you to check whether the given grammar is valid LL1 grammar or not. If it is asking you to create only predictive parsing table, you stop here. But if it is asking you whether the given grammar is valid LL1 grammar or not, then you have to state the justification that as we can observe in the table, S-E cell contains multiple rules, which is ambiguity, reduce conflict, and hence this grammar cannot be called a valid LL1 grammar. If you observe the book, in book a very complicated definition of LL1 grammar is given. When a grammar is called LL1 grammar, but we are not supposed to cram it. What you just have to do to check whether the given grammar is LL1 or not, check whether it is left recursive or not. If it is left recursive, eliminate left recursion, calculate first, calculate follow, create the predictive parsing table, and only check even a single cell you have which contains multiple rules inside it. If so, it is not a valid LL1 grammar. In the previous all examples we discussed, we had all the cells with unique entries. So all those examples were the examples of valid LL1 grammar, and the last two examples we discussed are the examples of not valid LL1 grammar. So this is all about checking whether the given grammar is valid LL1 grammar or not. So what we are going to discuss next? We are going to discuss next how the actual predictive parsing table predictive algorithm is going to apply. So let us once again focus on, we had discussed earlier how the top-down parser is going to work. So we had discussed that this is our top-down parsing algorithm, which we are yet to discuss, which we are right now going to discuss. Okay. So what this algorithm is going to do, it is going to take as input an expression which you are going to validate whether it is syntactically correct or not. For checking that, you have a code or algorithm. This algorithm is going to use a stack. So we assume that a stack is readily available or implemented. This algorithm is also going to consume the predictive parsing table, which we already have discussed how we are going to create. So assume the table is available, assume the stack is available. Now what we have to discuss is this top-down parsing algorithm, which will work and check that whether the given expression is syntactically valid or it is not valid, and hence contains some errors. So what we are now to discuss, the top-down parsing algorithm, non-recursive predictive parsing algorithm. Okay, so let us resume discussing this in next part of this lecture. Keep watching the videos. Thank you.